2026. It's 10:35 a.m. and we're here to discuss the Pinecreek Bridge repairs. And I will turn it over to Commissioner Dose.
I will just introduce it and then turn it over to the guy that knows. We did some temporary repairs, emergency repairs to that bridge a couple weeks, week and a half ago. The bridge needs permanent repairs. With the help of Jim and Jessica, we did an application and received $100,000. Is that correct?
That's correct.
For to do all the repairs because the bridge is only temporarily fixed. We fixed the most dangerous part was the approach had completely washed out, and there was nothing there holding the pavement up on the approach. But now the things got scouring and all kinds of things. So there's a couple different ways we can go on that. Ask Jim to come and explain those two routes, but we do have funding. We just need to decide which way we want to go forward to get this bridge permanently fixed. So I'll turn it over to Jim Merlot.
I think well said, and we were happy that LTAC saw it our way, that it was an emergency. We filled out the paperwork, and so $100,000, no match for work. It's specified what kind you can do. Unfortunately, they do not pay for engineering, so I tell you that because that's kind of where I'm at. And so as your consultant, I always like to make some kind of recommendation and go with whatever you like, but I like to make a recommendation, feel like I owe you that, what I think, and then we decide, the best way to do it. My recommendation was, because we classified it as an emergency through LTAC, and it came in as an emergency, was granted as an emergency, that we should treat it as an emergency. And the reason I say that is some people put in for those grants through LTAC and they don't get them. Mm-hmm. And I think I've done at least 12, and I've done several here with you all. And we sell them because they are an emergency, and we also sell them because we don't have extra funds. And so when we sell our application, it's a selling point because there's people that vote. And Mayor from Kellogg, Rod Plank, was one we talked about. He did vote on it. He did vote for us. He represents the 5 northern counties. He's a good one to have there. We used to have Mac Pooler there, and he was always a good one. So when you are filling those applications out, you're selling yourself. You're selling your project, you're selling what you think. And so we did get with Rod, and we got there. All that being said, my recommendation is always based on, if it's an emergency, let's treat it like an emergency. We got the money, we're very happy, but now let's continue and not throw it in a drawer and say, oh, God, we got that, and we'll get to it when we can. Yeah. So my thought was, based on the conditions of what we have out there today, no snow and this kind of stuff, I thought maybe we can get a lot of this done. Maybe we could beat the runoff, if there's going to be a runoff, and there could be. We don't know what's all the way up there, but the whole part was, boy, it's really nice, and can we get it done? Treat it like an emergency. Okay. The second thing was follow the emergency rules too, the rules that follow under emergency. And so it's, you have emergency rules, and I want to treat it that way. We want to spend the least amount of money, and the least amount of money is to give me less, honestly. So if we do a direct select and pick a contractor, then you don't have me putting together a set of plans for bidding and the process and all that, which is good stuff, and we do it a lot of times. But do we have to do it this time? Emergency rules say we don't. So my recommendation was not to do that part, but to do more of a design build. Pick a contractor and go out there and work with him and come up with a solution, kind of a design build. We're going to open up some stuff, see how Danny did with his fix, which looked really good, but see how he did and see what the fix is going to be once we uncover kind of what's there, because he blocked up everything so it would quit eroding and scouring underneath. And so we got to go see how it went, because I can't see that right now, and we were thinking. So that's where I was headed. Then I thought, we pick a contractor. I was just suggesting Jim Kaysen. And the reason I say that is I know him really well. I do a lot of work with him. And he's just one, one of many. I know almost all of them that do it. I picked him because I work with him a lot. I use him a lot. And there's a certain amount of trust there. I like the way he does it. The last couple times we did jobs with him here, we bid. He was low. He was low on your pole barn. He was low when we did Jim Bridge. We did some of those to bid. It doesn't have to be Jim Kaysen, but I felt like I would pick somebody that I work with a lot, and I can be out there less. I mean, the truth is, I got to be out there some for you, and I got to lay out how I believe structurally, engineering wise, we can stop the scour. I just threw out to Dave that that's what I would do. I would not bid to save some money. For timing, I would not bid, and I would select Jim Kaysen if it were me, because I'll be out there for you. That's what I said to him. That's what I thought we should do. Very flexible. We can do it any way you want. And I don't want you to think you don't have options, because we're not in a panic. We're not in a panic now. It looks really good what Danny did. What the weather will be like, and can we get it done? I would hope we could still get it done if we do go out. If you want me to put something together that can be bid, and then have an opening and select a contractor and do it that way, we can. I just wanted you to know that I wanted to give you my recommendation based on, is it an emergency? Do they have any funding? We told them you don't have any funding, because you don't, really. We don't have this kind of funding. So they're sitting back there in Boise. They know me really well, because I've been around a really long time, and they're going to see, and they're going to say, they put it out to bid. They're going to say, well, they put it out to bid. How broke were they? These are things that go through my, because we're going to put in for another ER sometime. I'll bet you we sit here and do it again. It just always happens.
Yeah.
And so I was trying to respect that.
Okay.
And that's my recommendation. And I'm very flexible.
Okay. No.
So I have a couple follow-up questions. You said you can't see right now how to stop the scour, so this is somewhat exploratory.
It's a little bit exploratory, because we did a fix already. I could see it. I saw everything before we did the temporary fix.
Okay.
So I knew the answer, and that's how I put in for the money, and that's how we described what we would do, knowing we saw everything. Right now, we have backfilled on both sides, and so to see how we're going to tackle it now, which is going to be a little less than the original, is because some's been done. I don't know exactly what it's going to look like when we get down there. He told me he was going to put some big Donikers on the back side to hold some of the fill from. I don't know what that looks like, and I don't know what kind of Donikers he got. So I do have to see a little bit. So exploratory is a decent way to say that. I will have a better idea once we uncover. No matter what contractor we go out, I'm going to uncover some to see how to put it back. So yes.
Okay. But it doesn't sound like that is going to materially change the ultimate price. I mean, it might affect it somewhat, but it's not going to hugely deviate from that.
Absolutely not. You're right. It's not. That'll be handwork, and there'll be more down below there, and how much kind of the grunt work that'll happen down there. So that's more. It's not going to change it significantly at all, I don't believe.
Okay.
We have plenty of money.
What's the estimate for this project?
Okay, again, because I'm going to try to go see what it is, but I'll give you the estimate we started with. We started with, I gave an estimate of $50,000. I was going to send that to Boise.
Okay.
Boise came back and said, go for the 150, go for it all. And that, because we work with some of those LTAC people to help us guide our application. And so they're saying, just go for it all, go for it all. You never know what's going to happen. So we did. We said, okay. So I changed my engineer's estimate, and I went with a bigger fix. I thought, okay, well, we'll open it more. We'll put a bigger slab of concrete to hide the H piles that are showing. Now, we have these piles we drive, and then the water came and took it out, so they're exposed, which is not good. And so the best thing to do there is box it all up and pour concrete in there. I did a job just like this called Waddell Bridge in Benoit County maybe 3 years ago. I used Jim Kaysen. But what we did, we got down underneath there and we formed it all up, and we got a line pump, and we got down in there, and you kind of crawl in there and you bring the concrete out, and it filled it all up. That's what we would do to this. The reason I went with the 150, I said, I'm just going to make it bigger and bad. It's going to go longer, and it's going to be more, and probably pave a little more. And I was able to get the amount up to 150.
Right, but you told them one thing, we're doing less than that.
Nope. So I told them one thing, and then they came back and said, we're only going to give you 100. We think you can get it done for 100, or do your best with what you can get it done for. So we said, fine. Then I went out and saw what was done by Danny and his crew, and I went, oh, it's pretty good. They did quite a bit. And so the scope of work is the same. The magnitude of it is smaller, but it's still the same work. We got to go expose that, form it up, pour it back in concrete, rip wrap back around it, and bring up the backside and do a little better paving up top because we don't want that cold mix there.
Because it's just cold mix right now.
Cold mix looks pretty good, but so yeah, the reason it went from 150 is they encouraged us going for the max. I put a big fix together. They gave us 100. We celebrated that. We're happy about that. And then I went out last Friday. It's the first time I got to see it after we put in the application and Danny was done. I thought he really did a bang up job. He did a good job.
Okay. So what happens with the unused funds? So they gave us 100, we used 50. What happens with the other 50?
We have to give it back.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. We usually try to spend it, but we have rules, right? But we usually try to spend it. And one of the ways we spend it is plant mix is the most expensive thing we have anymore these days. So depending how much we disturb, I saw us doing a nice job of doing a patch back, and maybe instead of 20 feet, maybe it's 35 feet or something that's reasonable. But I thought, let's try to pave a little bit there and do a little. They don't like it when it comes back very often. They tell you, try to spend the money we gave you, but you got to spend within the scope of the fix. Mm-hmm. But if we tear up more up top, which we will tear it up because we're going to have trucks dumping, we're going to have equipment moving around, we will likely tear up 20 to 25 feet of surface there. We would try to use the money when we say we've got everything done. It's there. We got to give it back.
Okay. What is so? Assuming we do a no bid scenario, what is your cost?
Me or my estimate for the work?
No, you.
If we do not do that, I'll probably be a couple grand. I would go probably. I'd meet out there, get it understood once or twice. Then I'd come out at least once or twice when they were working on it, and then do a final. So I try to keep mine down. I try to do that for you. I always have, right. And I will try to do that. And that would be my say. How about a couple grand to do that?
How much would it be if we went through a bidding process for your piece?
Okay, so I thought that was the big question coming into today, and I was thinking, what do I have to put together? And I want you guys to understand what that means a little bit. So to put a package together by Public Works standards, I have to put something together that is clear, that's tied to specs, and that any contractor could pick up and give a similar bid to the next guy. So it's not apples and oranges. So I got to work pretty hard to make sure I write it right. So I saw it as 4 or 5 pages of narrative and try to get like bid items that explain riprap will be moved off to the side and then relocated. And so I write that one up, and I put a guess on cubic yards. And so trying to get the document so that it's professional and it's reasonable and that takes a little bit of time. But I was thinking for me to do that, and then I got to come out a little bit more to inspect it, because now I got to come out and we measure quantities now because it's bid. So the quantities is of this versus sitting down there and say, well, an agreement with, what are we going to do here? What are you going to do? I think it was, my number coming in was going to be about $6 grand.
Okay, so
Double,
four grand difference?
Yeah.
Now you said we're under the emergency rules.
Mm-hmm.
What rules are you referencing?
Do you have the same book I have?
I think so.
So if you go to, I guess it's page 8 page 12, emergency expenditures. Want me to read it?
I can read it.
Okay.
So this seems like it's language from a shortened bidding process in 672805. Regardless, we're under $100,000. So under 672805 and 541903 sub 9. And also it lays it out in this manual, which is publicly available. It's a bidding and procurement introduction to 2024 from the Idaho Association of Counties. So the numbers have changed a little bit because the statute was updated to increase the dollar amounts.
Mm-hmm.
It's still very useful. We're under $100,000 on the total project. I think we have to include his fees in that, but we're well under $100,000. So the county is not required to put it out for bid. The county can just hire a contractor. Now, it would be you hiring the contractor, not the engineer hiring the contractor.
Exactly.
Whether you want to go through a bidding process is a political decision that you can make. You could decide we're just going to do the bidding process anyway, but you're not statutorily required to. And so you would probably just follow the procurement provisions for 100 to 250,000, and you would just solicit three bids, and then you would select from that probably the lowest qualified bidder. So it's a political decision which way you want to go. Both are open to you.
Okay. So basically we don't have to go under an emergency right now. We can just go, or do we have to?
So if you declare an emergency under the 100 to 250,000 bidding process, you can declare an emergency and expedite the bidding to 3 business days or more.
Mm-hmm.
So you can say, hey, we're putting out notice right now. In 3 days, we're going to pick a bidder, and then you move forward with that. So it's an expedited bidding process, but it's still you're getting bids from at least 3 bidders.
Okay.
Yeah.
So this one, we don't have to do an emergency. We can just go because it's under 100,000.
Correct.
Okay. And
Could I?
Sure.
Yeah. Very interestingly, you have declared an emergency on flooding.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
We have every intention of including that
Okay.
on as a flood project. That the flood did cause that.
Yep.
I think we can safely say that based on pictures. Now, pictures, we can safely present it that way.
Exactly.
And we'll never get pushback. I don't believe we'll get any pushback on that.
And I don't disagree, but my reading of the statute and where that comes into play is in expediting the bidding process.
Sure.
So,
Okay. I totally agree too. Yeah. And I appreciate that too, because the statutes did go up quite a bit. 50 was the number for a long. Now it's 100. Seems like a lot, but I just wanted to throw it out there that the work that we've done out there, we have every intention of going after state funds for half of the work that we've done, because that's eligible to us after we declared. We didn't get FEMA there, but we're going to get FEMA likely. I know it's kind of a crazy world. Very likely going to get FEMA and federal money for the windstorm.
Okay.
And we've been waiting, and it's been up and down. But right now we've got, under the flood, we have kind of a 50% match. So everything we turn in. So that's really good news, because what Danny did out there qualifies for that money, would not qualify for this LTAC emergency money.
Okay.
All the materials do, but not the labor. So it's kind of interesting. But we just thought we're gonna throw it all at them and see what we can get back, and sort of 2 avenues, because you did declare it.
Okay.
Anyway,
So what I'm hearing is that we'll save, your fees are we would save $4,000, and that's out of our own pocket. That's not out of the LATCF or anything. That's out of our own pocket. So we'd be saving $4,000 if we went with.
if we didn't
do the
a
procurement.
direct select.
Okay.
And that's why I proposed it, for no other reason.
Okay.
And and maybe I should have proposed a different contractor. I just proposed one that I'm really I know him really well. And that can be good or bad, but I know Jeff Nearing really well from DGNS, and I know Kip McGilvery really well, because we're going to have to get, if we're going to bid, are we going to bid? This is how I think about it. Are we going to bid paving also? Because are we going to do that with Kip? Are we going to bid traffic control? We're going to use the local, So however we want to do it, I was trying to do it the least effort and get it. And we do know everybody.
Just a point of clarification. So the board can decide to bid it or not bid it, and the board can decide which contractor to hire.
Okay. Okay.
I don't know if that needed to be said, but put it out there.
Yeah. So listening to Jim and Jessica, and we had a long discussion about this with me trying to step in and help, while Jessica was out. It made business sense to move ahead this way. Politically, though, I have already heard that we have at least 2 local companies interested in bidding. So politically, we might want to open it to bid. But if we did, I think if we kept it in the 3 days, is that possible?
3 days is the minimum under the statute. It doesn't have to be 3 days. It could be, a week. It could be, but you're not stuck with the regular course of it playing out and taking a few weeks.
If we did something in 3 days or a week, do you think we could still beat the runoff and take advantage?
It feels like we're beating the runoff. I mean, I'm optimistic. It feels like we are. For clarity, what I would probably do, I would probably put a few pages together, and if you laid out 3 you want to go after, I would take them on a site visit. That'd be easier for me to take them up there and say, here's what I'm expecting, to make sure you're bidding apples to oranges, and so you get what we're thinking. And sometimes that's a good way to do it too, is to get them on site.
If you were going to do that, I would recommend you do them all at the same time if you could, because you don't want an accusation that you told one person one thing and another person another. That's why you do it in writing in the first place. So I could see problems arising from that if it's not done carefully.
I totally agree, and I've done it that way too. And you should, because then you get the same answer, everybody gets to hear it. But having them out there is helpful for me to make sure we're on the same page. Trying to get on the same page when it is, like you were saying, we've got to kind of see what we have there, a little exploratory, before we know what the fix is going to be, based on what we used for backfill and how it's going there. So it was.
Okay.
So.
All right. What is the board? What are we thinking we want to move forward with?
Well, originally I was thinking that moving forward quickly, because it's an emergency, we do need. I'd like to see it fixed before we get another high water event. But having heard now that we have a couple of folks locally interested in the interest of fairness, I think some kind of a compromise where we get Jim to put it together in a bid, we put it out there, but with a 3 to 5 day response time, so that we're moving, if that sounds doable.
And it's business days, not calendar days.
Yep.
Jim, is that?
Yeah. Just one point. Would we be just doing the kind of the work underneath the bridge, the scour work, or do you think we bid the paving also? The traffic control. Do we put it in one package? The way you normally do this, we'd put one general contractor. Then he picks his own sub, and then they kind of do the work. We only weirdly work with him, and then you have. But sometimes you get layers that way, versus Kip's your one paving guy here who does a pretty good job. And so I thought maybe we keep the paving off of this bid, and we just bid that work underneath. The scour kind of rip-rap earth moving piece. It's kind of what I was thinking. But again, then you're direct selecting Kip for paving, which you can, but then you don't have many pavers here, though. I mean,
that's right.
Yeah.
Last time we did a paving job, I did one for you. I did find 3 to bid. Kip was low, but then didn't do it, if you remember right.
That's right.
Yeah.
But anyway, however you want to do it, but if we were going to bid it, could we just bid underneath? That might make sense to do
You
that.
certainly can separate them.
Okay.
Okay.
That would be my recommendation.
Yeah.
Okay.
I would have to agree with that.
Okay. All right. Okay. I would entertain a motion.
I would motion contracting with Jim Roletto to do the process to put it to bid, and that we take this out for a 5 business day bid, and that we do this for the under the deck. Would that be an appropriate way to say it?
Sure, substructure.
The substructure under the deck, and that we would come back and do the paving later on.
Okay.
After we see what it's going to take.
I'll second it.
All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Okay.
Perfect.
We got it.
We'll do it that way, and I think it's clear that we're going to do the 3, hand it out to 3.
Yeah, so I think that if we're gonna go with the expedited process, I know there's already an emergency declaration,
Mm-hmm.
but I think that you've made the formal emergency declaration.
We just need to link it somehow to this.
Yeah, I think that you have to, purchase must be made when there's a natural disaster, clearly qualifies under flooding, which is one of the itemized. To prepare for a national or local defense, such as in time of war or when rioting, not applicable, or when the county must take immediate action to safeguard life, health, or property. So I think that you have to make a finding, and I would specify what those are. What about this job is going to safeguard life, health, or property? Obviously, that's for you to decide, but it does occur to me that obviously there's a property component in terms of even accessing the property, being able, emergency services to be able to access the other side of the bridge, the threat that this could deteriorate with spring runoff, all of those come to mind. But
Now, can't we just link this event on Pinecreek, the Pinecreek Bridge, to the flood emergency
I
that
think
we?
you could cite the prior
Cite
emergency
the prior
declaration and then
okay.
just talk about how, and then you just make
Okay.
make findings as a board
Okay.
as to how this is linked to that and how this is necessary to protect, life, health, or property.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, we need to put this on another agenda, so it's not within this, or can we do it in this one?
You can do it in this one. It's part
Okay.
of this. Yeah, I think that you need to amend your resolution to include that. So you
Okay.
kinda jumped into it and didn't get a
Okay,
chance to read it. Yeah.
And maybe keep in mind the bridge is the property too.
Yes.
The bridge
Yes,
is one
the
of your
bridge is the property.
big.
That's a good point.
Yes.
Yeah, because losing a bridge is millions.
Yeah.
And then load limiting it is an issue, as you bring in sales, who knows where your next logs are coming out of, but the bridge is a good piece of property you want to keep in good shape.
That's a very good point.
All right, well, we've already voted on the
Okay.
motion, so now we need to vote to amend.
Yeah, we amend do you remember the resolution number, Sydney, by chance?
No.
Okay.
What?
Resolution
I don't
for the
need-
flood.
Oh, yeah, you just need to
The flood
cite it to it. You don't need to amend that one.
Okay,
Yeah.
cite it, okay. You want to take a stab at it, Commissioner Davis?
I'm not ready. I'm
Okay.
still trying to think of how to take what he said and put it into English here for a motion. Help me out, Counselor. What do we need to do to amend this thing? We need to
Well,
reference the
um,
original emergency.
yes. And then make a finding that this expenditure is an emergency expenditure connected to protecting, life, health, and property. I'd say and/or property.
Okay. I didn't write the first one down, but I would move to amend the motion that we just voted on to cite the this is in direct connection with the flood event that we declared an emergency on in the month of December of 25. Okay, did that satisfy that part of it, Council?
I think it'll do. If we don't have if we don't have a date or a more direct number to cite, then I think that's
the
sufficient.
best I can do
All right.
from memory.
All right, well, you didn't make two of those resolutions in December, so I think
So
we're
there's
fine.
only one
There's clarity.
for the flooding, so that we're directly linking this emergency action to that emergency declaration in December. And I move further that the board finds that our finding is that this bridge directly affects the life, health, and or property of the county with the bridge and of the taxpayers, particularly the ones living upstream, as this is sole access to all those homes.
I'll second it.
All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Okay.
Did that accomplish it in a roundabout way?
Much better than we started with.
Okay. All right.
Jim, does that leave it clear what we need from you?
I believe so. I'm going to try to get, for full clarity, I'll try to get together a starting document and then try to request to meet in the field with 3 contractors.
Okay.
You can tell me who they are. Do you want me? You guys tell me who you want me to meet with out there. Right? They should do that.
They can do that or they cannot do that. It needs to be. We need at least 3 bids. It doesn't have to be any particular 3.
Yeah, I'm not sure who, I wasn't contacted. Did you remember the 2?
I would propose, if that's okay, commissioners, I would propose North Fork. They've shown
That's
some
one that I
interest.
have heard that showed
Okay.
some interest.
Yeah.
Yep, and we've worked
NFE.
with them, and I know them, and I've done jobs with them for you all, and the city of Pirates. And I would include Jim Kaysen. And the reason is because he does quality work, and he's reasonable price.
Mhm.
And then maybe DGNS, because they are a local company that's very versatile, and I know them well too. I think I can call them quickly and say, I want you out there, and there's a certain amount of relationship with me and them also.
Okay.
And I would try to do something probably next week.
Okay.
Is what I would try to do. Get something together, probably be, that will be my goal.
And
Okay.
you also can do more than 3. It's not limited to 3,
yeah,
but we
agreed.
need to aim for at least 3 bids. So.
Okay.
Okay, and I think that list covers the ones I've heard secondhand that are interested in the process, so.
Okay.
Okay.
All right.
Me too, so far, that's what I've heard.
Any public comment?
Yeah, I'm wondering why the county's not doing it themselves.
We did a certain amount ourselves. We got 100,000 that we can use with contractors, but not the county. They
So
won't
the
pay
county don't get reimbursed for the labor or the equipment, just like the gym bridge.
So in the federal money that we have, they won't pay for labor and equipment. That's right.
Right, I've read that.
Yeah,
Uh,
the materials, we can't.
So this is no county work at all. This is just a contractor. This isn't like the gym bridge where it was a joint effort between the contractor and the county.
No, because now we do have funding, plenty of funding, I believe to have. We will be able to contract it all out, from traffic control to materials to the labor, equipment. Some things I like to try to do too, if you do have riprap stockpiled somewhere, I like to use that because then I can put a price on it. That's a federal aid type price because it'll allow that, and then you can replenish that yourself later because you'll be reimbursed that way. Or we can go buy it from a source.
Okay.
Sometimes it works better for us to do it the other way. The county wins on that deal.
Okay.
I've done that one before.
The last thing is about the asphalt. You were talking about separating that.
Yeah.
That could be the difference because one contractor has the ability to lay asphalt. The other 2 are gonna have to subcontract it out. That might be the difference between the contractor that has the asphalt
I agree.
to get the bid for the whole thing.
Totally
Does that
agree.
make sense? Okay.
And that's why doing it this way is better, correct?
Is to put them together, because our local contractor can make up some of his higher price that he might be charging for the bridge on the asphalt. Where the other two are gonna have to subcontract it out, which is gonna cost more. Yeah, does that make sense to you?
I know exactly what you're saying, but I thought, it felt like to me, if we kept the asphalt out, then that unbalanced bidding thing goes away, and then we make Kip and them bid on it too. We could make them come in and do a bid on just the asphalt, and that would eliminate that.
Except for he could just get the asphalt, but if it was a bid together.
Oh,
If it was bid together, the difference of his cost for asphalt
Versus the
and what
other
he bid on the
contractors.
bridge would could equal out, because the other contractors have to subcontract somebody out.
Yep, that's true. And then the other thing that I do almost every time is we can get a better price for the asphalt. Like if we buy the asphalt, Shoshone County buys the asphalt it's got to come from Rathdrum. I mean, that's where they're at, unless Pinehurst is open, which is great. If we buy that, we'll get a better price. And then say Kip lays it down.
Okay.
So we do save on that.
Okay.
And that's legitimate. And
Okay.
that we'll write that check, and
But that's us going to get it too.
but don't have to do it that way.
Okay.
Because we have money this time out, we can make them do it all.
Okay.
Sometimes we had to do
Yeah.
it before. We didn't have the money one time, so we had to go get it. This time we do have that, and I would like to say that when we get to that point, we'll know how much money we have left.
Okay.
And that'll be the last thing we do.
Okay.
We'll pave in the right season. Okay,
Yep.
might have to hang in there for a little bit.
Yep.
But we'll, if there's maintenance on the road that needs to be done during that time, we can have a contractor do it because we'll have the funds.
Okay.
So,
All right.
Okay.
All right. If there's nothing further, we're adjourned.
just,
All right, thank you.
just